Let's roll. This is Countercharge, your podcast for ranks, flanks, and kings of war. Join your hosts as they delve into the world of Panithor and bring you worldwide coverage of all things Kings of War.
Welcome to Countercharge. I'm Ralph Enough. Tonight, we right it wrong 10 years in the making as we're joined by Andrew, Ryan, and Coach from Family of Gamers 777 YouTube channel. In our chat recorded at Adepticon, we cover the gambit from Halo to Kings of War and everything in between. So sit back and enjoy the hot takes. All right, well, we are here with the Family of Gamers 777. Coach was lamenting the fact that Mark Zielinski promised you to come on the show.
On Mantic Radio.
Yeah, that's a long time ago, bro.
Yes. Mark said, hey, we can
That sounds like a
Coach
Mark
on here because he won the Dead Zone tournament. And you co-signed on it. He goes, yeah, that'd be great. We should have Coach on it. And then the next week you changed to Countercharge. It was the episode right after it you changed it. I didn't even get a shot, man.
No. Hey, sometimes it takes 10 years to make the big leagues, right?
It does. It does. Well,
Yeah.
you know, I think we've paid our dues.
Exactly. Well, let's go around the room. Why don't you kick us off?
How's it going? Ryan from Family Gamers. I'm the man with the long hair that pops
Are
up.
you the young son or the older son?
I'm the nephew and the cousin.
the nephew and the cousin.
Yes, sir.
And I know you're the son. Come on.
FOG Andrew here from the Family
I
Gamers.
like it. We got Coach.
And you brought the enemy here.
Well,
too.
he got a straggler.
I don't
Whoa,
like this.
whoa. I don't know about enemy. Hi, it's Tyler. I'm back.
Tyler from, what are you from?
Some channel that doesn't
Colorado
upload very
Springs?
often.
Where are you from?
Red Path Zone.
Dread Path Zone. From time to time on YouTube.
Yeah,
So-
from time to time.
Let's start with this. I like Halo. I actually like Halo better than Dead Zone because Dead Zone's just, there's list building, it's too complicated. Give me the pitch that Dead Zone's better.
I think I need to start off here. I love Dead Zone. Top miniature game for me. Simple, easy. List building is a mainstay in pretty much all the miniature games we play, and we all love it. Of course, sitting on the toilet, making lists and stuff, as we all do.
You do.
Then, when they came out with Halo, and I'll just say this, I had my friend Chris play Halo. He likes the video game, so he played it, and he played a lot of board games. He plays it. It's like, this is really good.
Well, he said, oh, my God, that's Halo. I love Halo. Let me play Halo.
Yeah.
And he was like, we had to, set it up and play.
So then I go play Halo with him. Then we set up Dead Zone. I teach him how to play. Yeah. He plays it. Coach, you walk down the stairs, and you were like, oh, what'd you think? And he goes, my friend Chris goes, oh, this is so much better than Halo. And this is just him. We made a list for him. We did it. I'll be real. Like, I think Halo is it's boring with these missions.
I like it.
In the starter set.
A hot take. I like
he's
that.
coming in hot.
Listen,
Coming in hot.
I think it's very boring. I think that
Spartan hate.
I don't like the shields. That's just a thing. I don't know.
But you're
wasn't too big
also
of a
like a
fan of.
shield whore with your Asterians.
Yeah.
With Asterians. I don't play
That's me.
Asterians.
That one's me.
Sorry.
He doesn't even play Asterians.
I like the
He plays
shield, so that makes
nameless.
sense.
Ryan, what do you think? Do you like the mechanics for
He's not-
shields
he's not-
in
he's not
Halo? Or
lamenting.
I'll let you lament, then I'll chime in.
No, it's just, those that, and then I don't like the respawning, but I will say I can give the game credit that I do like the weapon tokens and picking those up. I think that's a cool idea, even though in the book it doesn't really make sense. When you die, it goes to the spawn point instead of landing where you are. I don't know why it would do that. Kind of odd, because it says that in the book, unless they change that.
Have you ever played Halo?
Is that what happens in Halo?
Especially power weapons, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think
we listen. We said this in our review.
You don't play Halo?
PlayStation household. So
Oh, okay.
We don't
Well,
play Halo.
that's definitely going to color you, a certain color,
right. But also, I still don't like that. It's like, well, then why do I drop it if I'm just going to come back and pick it up anyway? At least in a miniature game standpoint, that's kind of my opinion. Like, well, it kind of would make more sense if I drop it where I died, then someone else can come pick it up. Like it'd be okay. Oh crap! I lost my energy sword. Okay, now somebody came and picked it up. It'd be kind of cooler to do, and that's how we were playing.
Right.
Too. We were doing that.
Well, because that's what you do in Dead Zone.
Right.
Wait,
then
go ahead.
And then I like that there's a variety of items that you put out on the board, but those are like the things that I do like. and obviously that it's similar to Dead Zone.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
then-
it's got the same core DNA.
And-
I can understand liking one flavor more than the other.
Right.
I obviously prefer Dead Zone.
Right.
But
Do you play Dead Zone?
yes, right.
Well, do you play Dead Zone well?
Did you play Dead Zone? Because I played a tournament.
Hey, man.
You didn't.
I'm a King's War guy. I live in Panathor, bro. You're on some Dead Zone. I don't know. Dead
I'm
Planet.
in both. I put 1 foot in each.
Okay. Well,
All right, all right, I want to hear from Ryan. Everyone's talking over Ryan. Ryan, say something.
Yeah, Ryan, you go ahead.
I think like
something
the
to me.
one big contrast here, and like this is just like if you're comparing the two fruits here between Dead Zone and Halo, I think there's way too much parity in Halo. It just feels like, and I think that contributes to this overall slog feel that I play, and I think that's enhanced by some of the missions. Like I think the diversity in Dead Zone between the factions and within the factions themselves makes it great, and it's fun to explore and build. When you're and I understand this is version 1. We can only
Well, and
critique-
a bunch of stuff came out this weekend, right? That changes things up.
Yeah,
right.
I
It's
think
still at the end of the day. Right now, it's Spartan. That's Spartan.
I do agree. I think that's when the game's going to come into its own. Is that
Well,
right,
it
it
didn't
needs
come out
it
yet.
needs multiple.
It's coming out.
It's
Coming out.
Yeah, well, I think the important thing here was we were catching flack for this comment originally, but we were only dealing with
You guys catch a lot of flack?
I think
Yes.
so.
Is it coaches saying a lot of flack, or is it you?
I think it was me.
I mean,
You?
I speak
Okay.
my mind too, but I like to play devil's advocate. So
Well, you're
Is
from
it-
the East Coast, right? That's how you roll.
Is it the clickbait thumbnails? You think? You
it
think
could be
that's what
that.
gets-
Tyler,
he gets that so much.
let me
you
explain
know, the
this to you.
shocked face.
who does the?
Hold
and
on a second.
And the face palms.
Let-
You think that might
Tyler.
get the people riled up?
Don't get me started. Let me explain to you. There's two different types of clickbait. There's clickbait where you put boobs in the thumbnail and then there's no boobs in the video. But then there's the other clickbait where there's boobs in the thumbnail and then boobs in the video. I do boobs in the thumbnail and boobs in the video. So if something's the clickbait, I put that in.
You're like
I've
clicking
watched
that tell. You're showing them what's going to be there.
Clickbait.
I've watched
Yeah.
Family Gamers for years. I don't think I've ever seen boobs.
Well,
Okay, it's-
you had me.
not the ones
It's
you
two
want.
boobs on camera. That's about it.
It's an analogy, Tyler. It's okay.
I didn't track. I don't know what you mean. You said boobs, and
The fact that the guy from the East Coast is beating up on you. is great.
Listen, the video we did was called "We Are Disappointed with Halo Flashpoint," and what did we say in the video? We were disappointed with Halo Flashpoint. Yeah,
That's fine. It's also because you guys, just like I have been playing Dead Zone for like over a decade, and so
Yeah.
it's just part of, it's always been my favorite miniatures game. Like once I picked that up, I was like, oh, so this is how games like can be.
Yeah.
Like I can have fun every time.
Right.
Like this is
What were you playing before when you weren't having fun?
40K.
40.
Fair enough.
Come on.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you my take. I like a lot of the Halo aspects to it. A few things is kind of swaying my opinion of it was myself and Ryan. We were playing Oddball, and we were right in the middle of the board, right in the middle of the board, second level. One guy would have the Oddball. I would come in. I killed Ryan's guy. His second guy respawns, gets into combat with me, kills me. My second guy that respawns gets into combat with him, kills him. And we did that the whole game.
It was terrible.
It was bad. The capture the flag, I understand that was a Halo mission, but it
Yeah, I've heard that scenario's rough.
it
I haven't
doesn't-
really played Halo. Like,
it doesn't
full
work.
disclosure,
Well,
I
that's what
haven't
I'm
really
saying.
played
So you really don't have an opinion. We do. So but the thing is, with me, if anybody could say anything about me, I really like a lot of games, and I give them a fair amount. You know, we had a game last year, Clash of Steel. We got in the swag bag, and we just wanted to play a tank game, and it was great because it was on the Flames of War type of no infantry, no nothing, really kind of watered down rules and stuff. But the missions were terrible. It's a tank battle game that you have to do objectives on. You have to sit on objectives. Now you're 8 inches away from each other, but the ranges are 36. It doesn't work. There are a lot of things in Halo that needs to be fixed, I think. I think it's a good game, but also, too, this is the draw, because I talked to Ronnie about it, and it's like Halo really sold well, and it's exposing a lot of people to Dead Zone. So if let's say, 15% come over to Dead Zone, we'll triple our numbers anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
So
I think we acknowledge that.
yeah, we do.
That was the point we made was that, like, and I think this goes back to the video that we got flack on that people freaked out over was like, no, this is like, I literally said this is great marketing. This is fantastic marketing. Look at everything this weekend.
Well,
that doesn't mean we have to like the game.
There are three types of people in the world, and three types of gamers that fall into it.
Right.
You have the guys that love everything, no matter what it is. Sunrises and sets. If you say anything wrong, you're a terrible person. Then you have the people who hate everything. You know what I'm talking about, right?
That's exhausting
Hate
to be
everything.
around.
And I don't understand, if you hate everything, why are you playing the game? Then you got guys like us. We just said we real like it. Andrew doesn't like it, but said there's a bunch of stuff that he does like. Ryan is like me. We're on the fence. We're kind of not yes men. We're going to say, if we like it, it's great. If not, well, change this, fix it, or we don't have to play it.
Yeah, and we said this with the expectation that version 2 would be better.
Yeah.
Like, no, I think that was the thing. People jumped the gun and were like, no, and I'm like, well, it's version 1. No, nothing's going to be perfect here, but like, let's be honest, like, we're not really dealing with a game that's like.
I also think too. We all jumped into it thinking, Spartan on Spartan fighting. It just doesn't work for us. Even if it's different types of Spartans, it's got to be. Where's your Teratons? Where's your plague victims?
Yeah.
Where's your aberrations? Where's your marauders? There wasn't enough diversity in it. But I think that as an entry level game for wargamers who don't know any better, once we cut their teeth on it, it's a good way to get into.
I don't even think it's just for war gamers. I think it's for people that don't play miniature games at all, that like Halo. Like, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I think that the power of the IP is really, really important on this. And like, honestly, like some of the fact that you guys have never really had the love for Halo or don't really know the Halo stuff, like that'd be like if I just tried to jump into a Star Trek game. Like, I know about Star Trek. I don't know any details about Star Trek. Like, I don't know.
I didn't know that.
So like I would if I played a Star Trek combat game in space or something, like mechanically it could be pretty good, but I wouldn't have any attachment whatsoever. I wouldn't be picturing a lot of the way that Flashpoint plays, and I'm mostly playing devil's advocate here because I am Team Dead Zone at the end of the day. But like a lot of the way that it actually plays is like, oh, I could do that exact thing in the video game, and that's cool. Because I just painted this, and this is my guy that I just painted, and I'm playing with my friend in real life. But it emulates a lot of the cool stuff that you can do in the game, and it's like that's half the draw.
Right.
Whereas,
Well, it could be a draw, but it could be a
if
negative. If you want a tabletop war game, it's not really simple. It's simulating a video game.
Right.
Right. So it's different. So
Why not just play the video game?
well, that was my original critique. I was like, well,
Right.
because tabletops
you
are
can-
awesome.
but
You can say
I
that
can't
about-
paint a video game.
You can
But
say
yeah.
that about every video game, board game, miniature game out there. It's like, yeah, you're right.
Well,
You
I know,
Like-
but I'm just saying, like if you have attachment to the IP, which pretty much anybody who's demoing and trying Halo, like they're doing it because they're seeing the word Halo and going like, oh,
I think
cool.
I think with us is that we didn't have a love for the IP. We just had a love for Dead Zone.
Yeah, and I think
Right.
that goes into the whole, and I'm not even calling it buyer's remorse here, but the pain with us, and I agree with everything you just said, Tyler, is this is the Dead Zone engine, and I don't know, it just feels muddled through. I understand like they're doing things to make it like the game.
Yeah, I
but,
think
like,
the time to kill seems a little like I want it to be Dead Zone-ier,
Yeah.
It needs to be clippier.
quicker. Well, I mean, that's
Yeah.
you were saying about those shields, right? Like,
Right.
you got to knock them both down. It's all got to be concentrated, and then you kill the damn Spartan.
I mean, I would love to compare like an average game of what we're playing. Like, let's say you did Capture the Flag in Dead Zone or something comparable. Like, just compare the time of play between both. There was a point where we were playing the Oddball mission. I was getting very tired. Usually we run through these things, and I was like, is this worth it? That's, I think, the question.
Yeah.
But you know what I think on the surface is, if you have someone who's, again, this is the IP attraction, who plays this is great. That's it. And they've, it's, what is it? It's Plato's Allegory of the Cave. They've not known anything other than this, and this is therefore the greatest thing.
Also, you guys are comparing it to Dead Zone, which you've been playing for 10 years.
Yeah, well,
The greatest skirmish game on the planet.
Absolutely.
Right. And even then, though, not playing, let's say Dead Zone never existed, I would have been like, yeah, Halo's fun. It's good. But very boring. Like if I'm not comparing it to Dead Zone, my main complaint is like how freaking boring it is. Especially that capture.
He's got the
flag
hottest
mission.
takes.
Yeah,
He just
that's why we're-
said-
that's
yeah.
how I
That's why
like
it's on
it.
show.
I like it, yeah.
Listen, I don't care. I'll
We didn't,
give all,
we didn't come
I,
here to mess around. We
No,
give
I
all-
know.
I have a lot of hot
No, I
takes.
just
Want more?
like
I can
it.
give more.
Yeah, but like not to soften the landing here, but I think the ceiling's really high. Like I think that's that's
I
the
think
big
this
thing we're
is
missing.
it's just getting started because there's a lot of expansion
think
you can do. Once you start adding in aliens, it's going to get
Right.
so
but
much
then
better.
also you start adding in list building and points and stuff.
Right.
Then
Right.
you start to now we're talking
which they
war games.
which they just started
Right.
doing basically this weekend.
Yeah, well,
So,
because
we'll see how that
because of us. Yeah, we're taking credit for it. We said that they
Put
should
the flag
be.
Put the flag on the ground, Coach.
I have no problem with that.
Colonize Mars.
Spray the end zone.
You know.
Coach.
That's right. Bet your ass.
What else have you guys been doing during the Adepticon? 'Cause
Lot of
You're not
demos.
playing any
Buying.
big events, right?
No.
Did you see any
Buying,
stunning
buying.
paint jobs and crazy
everything in this
display
room.
boards?
You know
and-
what's crazy? Last year we were in the Armada tournament, and now that we're in beautiful downtown Milwaukee, we couldn't.
Star Wars Armada, right?
What's that? Yes.
Star, yeah.
No, Mantic.
Man.
Were you in Mantic Armada last year?
Not Star
So
Wars.
There's a story behind it.
No.
Okay.
Mantic Armada, the Armada game.
Yeah, okay.
So
He's-
we were in
he's
we were
cooked,
in,
I'm sorry.
we were in
He's cooked.
Chicago.
Yeah.
We get there. It takes us about an hour to find a spot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, brutal.
We missed the Armada tournament. Myself and Ryan were in.
Oh, you weren't there?
Right.
Okay, because I was like, I didn't see you guys
Yeah,
playing.
we were there for we were like 10 minutes late, and they said,
Oh.
I said, all right, why don't we put us against each other? We'll take the L.
Yeah.
Oh, well, the companion app. Then we ended up just taking the day. We went around Chicago for a little bit. We started demoing a lot. We started, talking to a lot of people. We got some good video and stuff, and we were like, why don't we just go do it again this year? And we were going around and just talking to a lot of people. I got to talk to I spoke to Gav Thor for about an hour, who was like kind of a, I was
Who's a legend.
Yeah, gushing a little bit with him and telling him
It's hard not to fanboy.
yeah, reading a lot of his books, his comic books.
His
and then,
Black Library stuff, the trilogy,
yeah.
The Shadow King.
I heard that Dread Ball's coming back too, so
I'm curious. I'm really curious.
Yeah, me too.
I've always liked Dreadball. I think if we're talking like systems and engine, that's one of the. I mean, it's similar to Dead Zone because it's
It's not
same.
similar to Dead Zone at all. It's just the same universe.
Well,
Yeah.
they have exploding sixes. They have
It's just,
start with the 3
Dead Zone
dice
light.
pool, modify the. Yeah, then there's some similarities. A lot of similarities.
well, from what I hear, it's going to be great. I hope.
I'm excited.
Only
I'm
good
really
things
excited.
come
I was
from
hoping to hear some announcements about it here, but I guess a boy
typically,
can dream.
typical war gamers like us, I have every team at home. We don't really play much, but I have every team at home.
Right,
Just like
that-
I had 2 Kings of War armies sitting at home doing absolutely nothing.
I feel like this is our chance to get the Rebs back.
I
I feel like Dreadball only brings good things.
hashtag bring back Rebs.
Yeah. New Rebs team.
That's why I said.
Kyle, you
Absolutely agree.
You were a Rebs player for a while, right? A little.
I have every faction.
I don't have every
And
faction,
I
but there are
play every
certain
faction.
ones. I have every faction too, but I don't play Rebs.
I do.
Shame.
Well,
Shame.
You
on
can have them. You don't have to play them.
Yeah, exactly.
You can have them. You can be.
Well, I have them. He just happens to play them. But
I
now,
see.
now that he's gotten older and got a job, he can
Buy his
purchase
own
his
faction.
Do you have the Yindish Outrider guy?
Yes.
Yeah, isn't that just the coolest model?
It's
the rider. Like if they just made a
The
whole
Tiger
army
Act.
of just the Yindish guy
Is that the
who's
guy
like
with the
riding
tail?
on top.
Is that the guy with the tail?
the indigenous.
Yeah, they're kind of like monkey
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
human.
See, I don't
cat
see monkey. I see
people.
lion,
Yeah, lion.
like with a mane and
yeah,
flowing,
well, it's
beautiful
like
maned hair.
lion monkey humanoid.
Yes.
It's awesome.
That is awesome.
So cool.
Listen, bring it. If Dreadball can definitely bring back Rebs, maybe I think, but we need the Rebs back.
That's the right vehicle for it.
Listen, and I know this is the Countercharge podcast. They talk about Kings of War, but
They do it all.
I will. Yeah, but I'm saying, but
It's Mantic Radio.
Yeah, well, it used to be,
What?
yeah. We did. We had Dreadball Sculptor on.
Yes.
It's like the robot
I
team.
remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
And then we're gonna have Coach on next week. Oh, we're just gonna focus on Kings of War.
Yeah. I wish I could say that Mark said we're not having them, but I don't remember.
okay, go back. What?
but like, why am I playing Kings of War now?
Yeah.
because we're kind of getting back into
Yeah.
it. I think for me, and this is going to be probably my hottest take on this
we
episode,
go.
Coach is like,
is that Dead Zone currently is very stale and it's very boring for me. We played a good amount of games last year, and then they had the Summer of Sci-Fi. They introduced Night Stalkers and Matsadon. Another hot take: I don't think the Matsadon should even be a faction in Dead Zone. I don't know why they're a faction. It is a not a good spot. I think Night Stalkers, yes, but it's like that's like making the Saphir a faction in Dead Zone. It's like they're already in the Rebs. Like I'm taking them in the Rebs. Okay, cool. They're their own faction, but I'd rather have had one of
So you
Oh,
don't
the
think
Zor
that-
or something
that
or something
Samurai
different
wizards
or
are
new.
awesome?
Crystals. Crystallians.
What's wrong with him?
The Crystallians.
What's wrong with him?
No, I'm as an Astarion player, I actually agree with him. I remember looking at the
Haters.
lore, like seeing the universe map, and it's like, oh look, the Astarion planet's next to the Matsadon planet, and they're in the same faction, But honestly, like I just don't like. I think we were talking about this with Brian, and I think it was just like, I don't know. I didn't call it lazy. I don't want to call it lazy because everything takes work to put into it. But I was like, like you could have been more creative. Like I'm fine just having them with the Astarions. I wasn't blown away with it,
You guys see the new like Keelatron on the vault.
Yes.
It's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree and disagree. I think I like the Matsudan. I played them. I think they were pretty good that time.
I
Stuff
don't
in the
know.
vault's coming out. No. Listen,
Yeah, go.
Superior Tactics will win over your, way you play. So I don't have a problem with that. The Night Stalkers is bringing in, but I know you, like Ryan said, saying lazy and stuff. I want to see some new stuff, right? It's time to all right, now we're going to bring the Night Stalkers in. Well, there's Kings of War guys, bringing them in. It makes sense, but all right, we're going to bring the Matsudan in, but we already had Matsudan in the Asterians, where I could run a whole Asterian list of just Matsudan.
Yeah, and it sucked.
Right. But you can do it. And I understand maybe give the guy, there's a few things you could have done. We were talking about this before. Do they need a new faction? No. Could they be a new faction? Yes. I don't have a problem with that, but give us something else.
Sure.
Because the Summer Sci-Fi to me was a little, I was wanting more. I wanted more. It was like,
I
now's
agree,
the time.
I agree, but I'm, again, I'm playing devil's advocate because it's fun. What would spice up the game for you right now?
The Rebs coming back.
Okay, now here's the thing, and I'll tell you this.
Rebs already have
Yeah, but
Another thing.
they haven't been
like
taken.
30 unit entries, and
You're
you guys
right.
have them.
You're absolutely right.
Like, I agree. Other people need to be able to buy them. 100%.
3 of them.
Right there. You go.
Yeah.
I could only buy Adrian Nikolovsky. I could buy Edit
No,
Vermeer. and I could buy the
I agree.
High Ground.
But also,
how,
too-
how would bringing back old
Wait, hold
stuff
on.
spice up the game? It
No,
feels like
well,
that's
they
the
need
old
new.
stuff.
They need to spice up the Rebs a little bit, but it was kind of messed up. I will say, and I'm staunch against the Rebs.
Hater.
Hey, if we get a certain amount of
I agree.
likes,
That
but
shouldn't be on the community.
but that shouldn't be on us
That's-
because
It's an original
as fans, we're already.
I agree.
I'm subscribed to everything: the Instagram, the Twitter, the
Yeah, it's
the
hard
everything.
to get new ones, and it's like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
They don't
totally
know.
agree, 100%.
They don't know what the Rebs are. So how can they go and be like, oh yeah, I want the Rebs back. I'm going to subscribe. I'm subscribed. I follow on everything.
well, so here's the
Fermenting,
hardest
you know?
thing, from a production standpoint with Rebs is that they're so diverse.
Right.
How do they just become a Vault exclusive? Because that's the
You know,
route I would go.
that's
is
fine
just,
by
is
me.
do a bunch of multi-part Vault things.
Now here it
Tyler,
comes.
don't-
So
don't
as a
get
printer,
me started.
as a printer,
I don't even
fellow
have a 3D printer. I would
Oh,
just
you
have
don't?
Tim do it.
No. All right. Well, Tim does, right?
Yeah.
So you
no,
have
not,
access.
not my Tim Lonis, but yeah.
All right. So a Tim in your
A Tim.
sphere.
Everyone's got a Tim, you know
All
what I
right.
mean?
So his Tim is me.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with it.
So
Yeah. I think that would be the way to go because then it solves your
Kinda
problem.
like putting Armada in
I
there.
want it back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it seems to be doing all right. Like Armada
I
seems to be
understand
doing
too. Like
fine.
they were saying with Armada, which is still a fun game. The sculpts are fantastic. I love printing.
but doing them in house is like too much to.
Yeah, they just
too
they
much
couldn't do it,
product,
and it's like let's go by the wayside or let's find another way to do it. And like I was saying, I was talking to a few guys here, and they're coming out like Gav was saying that he's coming out with his new game, and there's going to be a physical and a STL thing to it. And I was like, really? I says, as a guy who loves 3D printing, I'm like, that's great because I want it now. I can't wait. And
I'm hopeful.
He
'cause,
said
like-
it's 2025. You have to change. The
Yeah.
Vault is the thing that changed everything.
Yeah, I
when the
agree.
Vault came out,
they're the first ones to really do it.
Yeah.
Like of the
Yeah.
bigger companies.
well,
Yeah.
it's
But yeah, like Epic Warpath is like very, very.
Well, it's hard
STL.
plastics, and then they got this STL stuff.
Yeah, but it's quite STL forward.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of stuff.
But I mean, like
I've
with,
seen.
with Armada, it's at this point it's an STL game. right?
Yes.
But like
Right.
other things,
So I say make
Dead
Reds-
Zone, they're going to continue to
Reds
make
the,
some stuff not
yeah.
on the Vault. It's you only get physical.
I say
and they'll
update
have
the-
3D
update
printers
the
on their own
Reds.
version.
I say update the Rebs on the Vault.
Well, I mean, they've been doing great with
Let's
the strike
crank
teams,
it
right?
out.
I mean, I don't know if people like the fact you don't like the fact that they're
No.
prescriptive, but at least you get a full faction or a full
Right.
strike team.
and
all
you
in
could
one go.
you could use those models in other stuff in other factions.
And you can't get them anywhere else. I mean,
No.
they don't make the models.
You
right?
know, I
Most
mean,
of them look way better than their Star Saga print versions.
true.
Like,
well, yeah.
like way better.
Yeah.
Because Star Saga, so it's kind of got some.
Well, I mean, a lot of times they have older games, or just it gets better hopefully. over
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Well, I mean, it's also board game, like plastic board game.
Well, it's
style.
PVC, the material itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the sculpt may have been good, but when you put it in PVC, it's
Right.
it's
So
soft.
now you have the opportunity to like make it look awesome, which is cool.
Yeah. I mean,
But that would be my suggestion for them moving forward with Rebs is like Don't try to do the headache of, okay, if we make a hard plastic sprue, how do we divvy up? Do we put 2 sphere, 2 Yindig, a Grogan, and now you've got like the same sculpt multiple times because you can only print so much on a sprue.
Dead
or,
Zone Mega Army. Or Firefight.
It's called
Mega
Firefight.
Army. Yeah, I'm just saying, but for Dead Zone, you put the whole Reb thing in a box.
Yep.
I mean, I bought 2 Mega Armies about an hour ago.
Yeah.
So
For Kings of War, you guys are going to jump in.
Well, Rob, I guess Rob was going to say.
No, I mean, I like talking sci-fi too. I mean, we can finish that out. I mean,
Listen.
That's
Just
about all I got to say.
for Dead Zone to make them, like I said, the summer sci-fi I thought was very underwhelming, and I think to spice that up, just the Rebs in general, I don't think they need new models. I think they need new models and an overhaul on the faction, and kind of like we talked about this on our podcast, where with Brian, like, okay, like take out maybe like certain units and like or combine units and do
sometimes less is more.
right. They
Yeah,
do.
If it's got everything, then it feels like
Yeah,
what's special about
No,
it?
but
don't
I think
disagree.
I think
I
the
don't
Rebs,
disagree.
the special thing about the Rebs is that it's such a conglomerate of alien races.
Right.
That it doesn't
And they
really
all do
matter.
something a little
like why? How come there wasn't a Forge Father in the Rebs? How come there wasn't, other things like this? There's so many races. Like we were talking that Dreadball coming back can be the impetus of this. There are how many Dreadball teams? I can't.
Oh.
It's
I
got
don't know, 15, 16, 20. I don't even know,
it's-
30?
let's
like
say, let's
26
just
or
say
something.
let's just
It's
say
crazy.
20. We're covering almost half of them. I mean, you got a bunch of races. Do you remember years ago we were doing a Mantic Open night, and he's like, the Zor is coming, and they're going to do this and that and this and that. And I know Ronnie likes to
Embellish?
Yeah, he's
Squirrel.
squirrel. But guys like us are like, all right, well, when's the Zor coming? When is it coming? When is it coming? When? It's been 15 years. When is it coming? And it's let's get it done, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I like to see more because we have like Tyler.
I want Rebs in Firefight, and I really want Nameless in Firefight.
Yeah, why not?
Nameless in Firefight needs to happen.
Yeah, but there's
because
there's
it'd be
enough
awesome.
units to do it.
Yeah.
There are enough units to do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
enough
4
units.
Goliaths.
But they need to make some sort of hard plastic, something for troops, so you can like have a army of troops, and then all the other stuff.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can like theoretically open up the Rebs to other factions, like give them access to Brockers. Let's just say, I mean, like they are the rebel.
You know what I
faction.
miss? I miss the Mercs list. The Mercs
Right.
list was
Yeah.
fun as hell.
You're welcome.
That was so fun.
Yeah, because that
I mean,
was
balanced,
a lot of fun.
Maybe not, but it was super fun.
Well, that's why we didn't. You couldn't take them in tournaments. That was just for fun.
Yeah, but yeah, you could bring like a Brocker working right next to a Marine,
Right.
working right next to Wrath.
And
like, so cool.
Kalishi.
Yeah, that's
you could
awesome.
hire Kalishi. Those were fun times.
Yeah, that was.
You could still do it too. I still
Yeah.
got the book. Why not run it? Who cares?
Yeah.
Just some of the rules have changed, but it doesn't matter. Points are still the same.
Agreed.
Corollary, though, for Rebels and Kings of War is, we got 2 factions that are kind of like Rebs. Like you got Northern Alliance, which is that hippie commune in the north. They
Yeah.
models,
You got
they have all the
elves.
everything.
Yeah, you
and
got
then you got
elves, you got
nature,
dwarves,
which I
you got-
all the time because they're just like they have everything. They have nothing. Like
Right.
they're like what? There's nothing special about them.
Hey, Ryan, what did you pick up?
Force of nature.
No,
and,
on the table they're fine, but from a narrative perspective, it's like I have
Don't
all these,
ever
I also
forget
got the hippie
fact.
commune too. So there you
Yeah,
go.
don't ever forget the fact that Rob's full of crap. So don't let him, don't let him color you.
So we're just
I'm just
shit-talking
happy
all
you
night,
guys are
so-
getting into Kings of War. That's
It's
awesome.
fun.
I've
You
been
know-
telling you this for a while. It's a great game.
Do you know?
Really
Do you know
haven't
how
told
we got into Kings War? I'll break it down for you. So, like I said, I had 2 armies.
How long do we have?
We had 2 armies, and we didn't play Kings of War. And I had a buddy of mine. I had a dwarf mega army, and we were saying we were going to get into it a while ago. And I said, I met another group. They were playing Sigmar and whatever, and they said, "Oh, we're going to play Kings of War." I said, "Bet." So I got an ogre mega box. I said, I'm putting them together. Let's get it going. I don't like the magic phase in Kings of War. I like it better in Sigmar or whatever. And I don't know anything about Age of Sigmar. So I said, okay. So now I got these 2 armies sitting there. So then Andrew said, "Hey, listen, I'm thinking about Kings of War." I said, I've been saying this for God knows how long. So last year we come to Adepticon. He picks up some goblins and stuff. So finally, a few months ago, we start playing, and he loved it. I loved it. We were screwing up the rules, but it's okay, when we start. And then I tell Ryan, we really like King's War. You should play it. And he's like, "Oh, I don't know. No." Then all of a sudden, Ryan goes, Yeah, I'm going to start to play Kings of War. I want to try it. I think it's good. I want to try it. And what
My
did you
man.
say? Why did you say?
I don't know. I think we're missing details here. I was just pissed about the Halo thing, and I didn't want to get Kings of War. I think
No. Why did you say that you want to play Kings of War?
Because we played it and it was fun.
No.
Because Andrew came back and said it was good. All right, hold on. I'll give the brief version here. This kid doesn't like anything, so when he tells me, "Oh, Kings of War is great," I'm like, "All right, I guess I got to do it." After months of me saying, "I
Well,
just
why-
wanna do
why
it.
is
That,
it
that
mine?
is half true.
Because you play everything. You like everything.
Yeah, that's also true.
Sometimes being positive is a quality element.
but-
You guys haven't heard
Andrew-
about
So because
games
Andrew
first.
said it was okay, now we could play Kings of
But,
War.
but Andrew,
valid.
you gotta play a full real game.
That's also
a
true.
full real game, not ambush, not 1,000 points, not
He's starting to sweat now. You tell me.
guys
1,500
suck.
points. No,
Well, I
I'm
mean,
telling
there's
you, I'm
certainly-
telling you that the game comes alive when it's full.
Right.
It has to be
Well-
it's got to be 2,000.
Yeah, but
at
here's the thing,
least
though.
to
I don't know
be,
how
like,
Dead Zone is, but
how it works.
in Kings of War, sometimes not 1,000 points, but 1,900. You have to make some choices. You don't get your cake and eat. And,
You don't get all your cake at 2,300 points.
You do. I don't have to make any tough choices. I don't know exactly what's going to be in the list.
You've also been playing the game.
Well, no,
for
I know, but I'm saying
a decade and a
there's
half.
probably. I think the game was designed for 2,000
Okay,
points.
okay, Rob. When you're playing,
Yeah.
right, in all of your games,
Yeah.
how many games have you played that are below? I'd say below 1,750.
Oh no, I mean I'm not talking that.
See?
Yeah. Now,
See,
because the game does break
He's been
down.
playing for 10 plus years.
Well, I mean, let's
Never.
talk about
You
ambush,
have
right?
to be playing.
We do
You have to be playing at
No, you're playing
least.
Kings of
I mean,
War. He's saying Kings of War. I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
what he's saying.
So Kings of War, you have to play enough that it still feels like that it is a ranks and flanks game.
Right,
With,
and that number
9,
is
10 units.
2,000 at least.
Well, 2,000 at least, I agree with. But
Right.
once you get to 2,300, those extra 300 points unlock everything.
Right, but
so now I don't have
but
to,
the
like,
difference between like 1,200 points and
Well, no, okay,
2,000 points
but I'm talking
is
about
unbelievable.
1,900
The
versus
game.
2,300. Right, that's a huge difference.
Yeah, that's a big difference. But if you were just getting into the game, you wouldn't have a real feel for the game until you play about.
Well,
2,000
so, I mean,
points.
just the whole
So
thing
that's
about-
what I'm saying is just play at 2,000 points, and then you'll
Well, I mean,
fall in love, and then
so
you'll
that's a
be at
whole
these
different
tournaments
discussion, right?
next year.
How do you get into Kings of War? In the past, we would have said, "Oh, you play Vanguard." Vanguard sucks.
No one said
Right?
that.
No, they did. That's how they sold it. They said, and
No,
really,
that's what Mantic said. No one in the community was like, okay, if you want to get into Kings of
No,
War, let me
no,
show you
no
this
one-
game
listen,
called
no one's-
Vanguard.
I asked a bunch
it
of
was
people.
built by, for sure. It was a marketing ploy by.
Yeah.
that was the thing.
That's what they wanted
And
to happen.
inevitably,
It
what
just
it,
never
what it
happened.
was is intro to Panathor, which is fine, but the game sucks.
Right.
Right. It's got all the tokens, and it's you're talking about Spartans dying. Play Vanguard. I knocked you down. You got back up. I knocked you down. And you don't. Nobody ever dies.
Was there like a fatigue?
It's a fatigue.
Well, there's like situations in Vanguard where you could have a guy who was knocked down, like fatigued, activated, had a magical thing on him, injured, and you would have like 6
Yeah,
or 7
you could
tokens
have
on him,
7
and,
guys-
and the guy wouldn't.
Been somebody, and they're not dying.
That sounds like
Okay,
first
but
edition Dead Zone.
enough about
For sure.
Vanguard.
Different-
The way you
remember the
get into Kings of War, I'm
Yeah.
trying to get this
So,
back
all right,
on
so
track
I got-
here.
let me-
One of
let me
us is a
finish this.
professional.
Listen, we are the
This
kings
is-
of segues.
Yeah.
So let it rock, man.
Yeah, so we start with Vanguard, right?
Yes.
They've introduced Ambush. Okay.
Right.
Ambush does give you the sense of okay, this is Kings of War, but I would argue that like the way you make the armies is clunky. So they have
Sure.
artificial restrictions that actually make the game unbalanced. So for example, you can't take hordes. Great, I'll take some Soul Reaver infantry, and I will every
Right.
time.
Talk about hot take.
Right? No, I'm serious. Like
No, I get-
ambush,
I know,
ambush
but-
breaks
but
down.
Rob's
But,
coming in
but for
hot.
us, what we were doing, we were playing ambush
gonna
for
have to
Kings
cut
of
all
War
of
at 1,000 points because that's what we were building.
No,
up to,
if you're
to learn.
playing that spirit, like I'm
Yes.
building towards Kings of War.
Yes.
Don't play ambush and think it's a competitive game.
But
Yeah.
ambush is it's just
Well,
demos
so where
with
I'm go-
multiple armies.
where I'm
It's
going,
just,
though-
it's just how do you? It's literally like here's a demo
Yeah,
set.
but here,
Have fun.
so
And it
here's
is.
where
It's
we
fun
are.
for- as a demo.
Champions is the game now. So it's going to give you a sense of what ranks and flanks is, right?
Right.
It's going to add some training wheels, like you're not going to have
Right.
list building, and it's going to take some training wheels
So
off.
I'm not trying to speak for everybody.
Yeah.
But like if you are going to commit, like you guys already have.
Yeah.
models,
So
But we-
just
but
play at the
also-
full
Well,
field.
that's-
and
also-
you'll thank me later because that you'll fall in love with the game
What's
because
that?
it's
Play
that
what?
good.
Play.
Full points.
Yeah. But
I think we're on
you're
the same
talking.
page.
We're talking like veteran war gamers here. We're not talking
Yeah.
about like a
Right.
somebody who's coming off the street and like
Sure.
I'd like to trade.
Well,
this
exactly,
thing.
like-
Oh, I like that.
you're not
snake thing.
intimidated by painting
Yeah.
models.
Yeah.
Right. That's a normal. Oh my god. That's maybe you are. Maybe I don't know.
I think
I don't
we're-
paint.
I think
Yeah,
we're
all right.
only doing it right
I
now.
have him
just-
paint.
You know what? You don't paint. You write checks. That's okay.
Well, he's gonna have to build some stuff.
Right.
because That's
Yeah.
just way too much. But
We'll see.
He's in charge of the editing. I'm in charge of the painting and stuff. Ryan now is stepping on board as one of the painters. And then what's happened with Kings of War for us was the three of us started playing it, and then we have Fabian. So Fabian already was into it. I just want to roll dice. So he just, he's with us, right?
Well, right, and you roll a lot of dice.
Yes. And then, we were also looking for a 40K bucket. I'm rolling buckets of dice. I had my, actually today, I had my Ogre Warriors hit somebody from behind, rolling 90 dice. That's some
Oh,
right
that's
there.
good.
Yeah.
It's real good.
Like when you have to roll
A bucket.
4 sets of dice, now
No,
we're
you're
talking.
you're in a real
Now
world.
we're talking.
Yeah.
But then what happened was the other day, our buddy Chris came over, showed him this. Oh, I really like this game. Now we're admittedly so screwing up rules and making, but
Happens.
and,
Well, you're not ranks and flanks guys, right?
Right.
You're skirmish round base guys.
right. So getting into it, and what's nice is when we're doing it, we're reading through the book quick, and I like -1+1. It's not. It's very. We were saying. I said it's very forgiving. Tyler gave me this look. I'm like,
Yes.
not tactics wise,
Yeah.
rules wise.
I see what you mean.
Right. Then 2 other people came over and they're like, "What are you doing?" So we split the table in half and we were playing 3 drops. See, I'm learning the lingo.
Yeah, drops.
We played 3 drops, and that was it. And they're like,
pro.
"This is really good." Oh, where when you go, if there's any deals or whatever. So Kings of Wars now we have like 8 people involved, and then now Fabian brought his son. Played a game today. He's kind of a power gamer.
His son is?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
awesome.
And
love it.
when
Love it.
we came from behind, and I was like, "All right, we have to roll 90 dice." He was like, "Oh yeah, this is my game."
Yeah.
So you gotta figure out things like that, and we've been digging it, man.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about Kings of War is that it scratches a totally different itch from something like Dead Zone.
Yes.
Dead Zone is like fast, fun, deadly, like cinematic moments. Who knows what's going to happen?
It
I mean, you
rewards you
can
for good
influence
tactics.
It rewards you for good tactics, but there is just that random element that like maybe some crazy crap happens. Like I love that. I love that about Dead Zone.
The explode. It's
And then-
I think with Dead Zone, the exploding 8s, the command dice,
Yep.
and now
Yeah, you get those real power plays
Yeah,
in the moment, and then it's right back to you, and then it's right back to you. And then what I love about Kings of War is that it's a totally different.
Alternating activation.
Yeah,
is
I mean,
completely different. Right?
the fact that you can play a game that big on the clock is awesome. But really, like you get to feel like a tactical genius when you do something that's tactically genius.
Right.
Like it's great, and like as many modifiers as you can stack in Dead Zone, it's not the same in a good way.
Right.
Like you get to feel like a general. It's
Now-
awesome.
Andrew was on the fence about it because there's a nerve value of it. You want to talk about that? We did talk about this on our channel, but
my 2 things that I don't like in miniature games are nerve and
like our morale of some kind.
yeah, something like that, and also when I have to ask you what I have to hit on, like what's your defense? That's just a pet peeve of mine.
Don't you just know them all? That's what I do.
We just started playing.
No,
the
I'm
game,
just busting
you
your
know?
balls. No, I mean it's a fair criticism, right?
Yeah,
Right.
those are the 2 things I don't like.
that's why he hated Flames of War.
Kings of War does the nerve. I love the idea of like kind of combining the wounds and
It's
then
one roll.
the
There's no
nerves. It's
power.
one-
There's no
yeah.
armor save. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
You
yeah, because
basically
you combine wounds, death, and nerve check.
Right.
Like
I think that
morale all in one
works
quick dice roll.
fantastically. I
Yeah.
think it works really good. And then the asking your, defense, and I don't care. Like this, it really did. It didn't. It did not really like.
Yeah, it's going
bother
to
me
happen.
that
And
much.
the other nice thing about Kings of War too is like once you're in it for even not that long, I would say, but like you understand the archetypes of units of like what to expect.
Right.
If you see something that's got plate armor, it's armor 5. You just know that.
Yeah. One of the issues we do have is that because it is figure agnostic, and that's cool. It gets people in the game.
Right.
But sometimes I've been playing this for 15 years. Not 15. Yeah, 2010. It happens to me, so I know it's gonna happen to Coach. In Dead Zone, that doesn't happen, right? You don't
No.
proxy in Dead Zone.
No, there's no
Same
proxy.
figures.
Can proxy, but if you're going to go tournament wise, Rob,
Well, because you
gotta-
also have true
Yeah,
line of sight,
that's
right?
right.
Dead Zone.
But
Yeah,
if you're-
and
you're
that's why I
coming
took
over-
like extra care on my Salad Marauders to make sure that all the guns were the exact same as
Right.
the Marauder. So like,
but
or,
that's the thing, Rob. You want to come over and you want to bring your, I don't know,
My Eldar.
right, and you want to play them as this, and we could figure it out as a fun game. That's cool. Tournament wise, you got to be legit. You got to be street legal.
Yeah.
The thing at Kings of War that got me was, like I really like everything. The thing that got me was, all right, so I'm moving my my horde up here, and we have 18 wounds. What do you call that? Like
Just damage.
Yeah,
All
18,
right, I got
yeah.
18 damage. I still hit you with 30 attacks.
Yeah. Right.
There's no like, all right, well, I have 18, subtract 18 from 30. I have to figure out math. I'm really
quick math.
You
No, I
my
mean,
math
you
is
don't have any
terrible.
math. You just the
There's no
attacks and the
math.
attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hitting you at 30. The only thing I got to do is multiply by 2 or 3 if I need to.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I really like that. And I think that makes the game more deadly and actually
Yeah.
quicker.
The argument with Warhammer folks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
is
I was
they're
gonna
they're
get to
like,
this.
wow, you're not pulling off casualties. Okay, I get that, but the point at which your unit is losing attacks, you're dead in Kings of War.
Right.
No, because there's step up rules in back 8th edition stuff. So like mechanically, it's the same.
This is all just the gameplay. But like when you're a hobbyist, nothing compares to Kings of War.
Right.
Not even close. It's
I
not
mean,
even close.
it's a slippery slope, right?
yeah.
We say you got to play in Panther. Like, it's fine to have like.
No, but I mean, but all those STLs you've been collecting forever,
Yeah, for sure.
like you can actually use them
Right,
for
right,
something.
Use them.
Right?
Well, I just doubled my usable STL Vault files in there. You know, I have my terabyte of shame, where it's which is nice that I have a terabyte of shame and not the closet's not as bad as it is. You know, but
the digital
pretty
closet.
yeah. But like we were talking, I have to make a samurai army. I just have to.
You might.
Saying it for
Exactly.
years.
And
might
you
wait.
can.
You might wait.
Well, no. I'm saying it'll. Why is there a samurai army?
I don't know.
All right. I don't care. I'm going to
I
make it
mean,
anyway.
Well, I mean, you could also, if you just want, they had the historical book. They have a samurai army
Right.
in Kings of War, 2nd edition.
See, I tried to look at that to do that, but I didn't know anything. Now that I
Yeah,
have a
books like
kind of a
Well, there is a group that in France that actually did update the rules, and if you want to play it, it's fine. Like, I mean, you can't bring it to a tournament,
Right.
but it's fun.
but I
yeah,
could bring
but-
it as a Kingdoms of.
Well, you
as
could
a
always
Kingdom of
proxy as a
Men.
Kings of Men, and that's perfect. That's what Kingdoms of Men's about. You have some historical players that want to play Kings of War. Cool.
Yeah,
I just love
it's-
that if you can dream it, you can do it. Like,
Yeah.
basically that's the attitude in Kings of War. Like,
I just
you'll see stuff at tournaments that you're just like, oh, that's so cool.
The guy
What a
had
good
the
idea.
glowing rocks on the.
yeah, Nathan Johnson.
Yeah.
from Michigan. Yeah, the
and
Eagle Rocks.
I mean, Tyler's army looked fantastic. I like the
thank you.
fire stuff, and
Yeah.
you know, it's hobby wise, it's
I mean, it's
really
a challenge,
freeing,
though. It's a double-edged
you know?
sword. On one hand, you want to get creative freedom, but we do need to keep our foot in, like, making sure it's accessible to players to understand what the
Right, understandably. It's just, you guys, like you at Family Gamers, you guys are a family of gamers. Like, you're already the gamer archetype. So stuff like Champions isn't going to hit as hard for you as it is going to be for when you introduce, your other random cousin who doesn't play war games.
Right.
Like, he might be really into that idea.
Well, people are telling us
like-
to buy champions, but I'm like, we're
Well, it's probably not for you.
Yeah, but
If
we
you're
go,
already
go
yeah,
big,
exactly.
go big
Yeah.
or go home, man. It's not, we're not gonna. All right, we have like what, I don't know, 10 mega armies now.
Yeah.
So
Better
it's
get
like
clipping.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. So now it's like, all right, so now you got all this stuff, but wait, we want to buy champions. It's not for us. We're not,
Yeah.
I think like the next step for us is we've been playing a lot of rank and flank. We got to figure out the leaders, the magic, the red, blue, and white.
The command dice.
Yeah, I have no. I'm saying when you buy, say, a warlock, but then there's different things. That's what I was going to ask you guys. Maybe off.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
go ahead,
like
ask
like
away.
how to in the companion app. You got to hit a box. It's plus 10, 20, or 30, and it's red, white.
Here's a cool one. Yeah, don't bother.
Don't bother. Okay.
Yeah.
There'll be commands in 4th edition. There may not be command dice.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I mean, the way you generate so that's the people. That's the power gamers bitching.
because they update the game every year. Sometimes they just throw something up there and see if it sticks. That one didn't stick. So
Well,
yeah,
we need
whatever.
that
harm, no
dead
foul.
zone. We need.
Well,
a
I mean,
really
to be fair,
update
the
too.
Right. Yeah, because at you got to see what the people think. Because
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes they're gonna go, oh hell yeah, how do we ever play without this? And other times they'll play it and go, no.
Yeah.
And so this is one of the no.
Well, but commands are in champions, right? So it's a
right,
very
but
good-
that was built in from the
Right.
ground
So I
up.
would-
It wasn't.
Here's what I would
tacked
tell
on.
you. I think we're gonna.
This is
have
like
commands.
a
We're not gonna have to roll dice to pay for the commands.
right. Yeah,
Firefight.
but it'll be
Built in with
built
the
into
heroes,
4th
right?
edition. Like in the current
Yeah.
state of Kings of War,
You know what threw us off? It took us a while, and I had to read it about 30 times, but we finally got it. Where the regiments unlock.
Oh, the
not
unlocking system
troops.
sucks.
unlocking's
Yep.
kind of confusing.
Especially like large infantry, they don't unlock
But-
regiments unless they're ogres. Then there's 3. It is a
But
mess.
but
And that-
fortunately, the app takes most of that
Right.
headache. if you
companion
just
app is
keep
where
doing
it's
it
way to
until
go.
the red bar goes away, like
Right.
Yeah, if it doesn't
Listed
if-
valid.
you don't really need to
Well, I don't
understand it. You
So
just have to do
This
it.
is what I don't understand. We bought a ambush starter goblin thing, put all the guys in, and it was an invalid list. A lot of the ambush stuff is invalid, even for ambush, which I didn't understand. Another thing too, I got a pet peeve here. This is what
I couldn't
pisses
tell
me
you
off.
about ambush. I don't know.
Well, and go ahead.
Hold on.
You know, you get a box, you should be able to play it, which is what Champions is now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Okay, you're
we bought
pissed,
an
though.
ambush book. We put an ambush thing. I put it in the companion app, and it was invalid list. So we were playing with.
Well, it depends on how many points you're playing, because in ambush, there's a 200-point limit at 750, and
I
over
don't know. I
750 to
don't play
999, it can be more than 250.
You know what? We don't want to play ambush. We're just
But
gonna go
anyways,
right.
the point is, like, it does put restrictions on. It puts training wheels on
Yeah.
what you can build.
Why do I buy a frickin' box of models and there aren't the correct size bases in there? I got an issue with that. Why do I have to go in my shed and cut frickin' MDF down to the right size? I don't know what 120 millimeters is. Why aren't they in the frickin' box?
Well, they have one size in there, right? And it could be, is it a regular?
no, it was the little square
those don't.
doohickeys.
But in the ambush boxes, you should be getting MDF.
yeah.
Right?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but
so
I
the older
don't-
mega armies, they were not putting
Why
the
do you
MDF.
have
But here's the
base
thing.
sizes without the proper base size?
Yeah, here's the thing.
It drives me nuts.
Just go to War Chest Creations and buy the bases with the magnets.
No, I
already.
have. I work in.
Or if you want to do it yourself.
No, I work in a. My football players work in cabinetry, and they cut all the bases.
Even
So
better.
Even better. So
That's
I have
even better.
But your point, that is a concern.
Yes.
That was a concern. And so now,
Yeah,
every
they've
box you
been-
buy now, they do have it's certainly Champions, Ambush.
Yeah, I mean the truth
Well,
of it is
Dead
that they
Zone.
used to
Remember
be
Dead
leaning
Zone?
towards.
Dead Zone didn't. It was just whatever comes with the box. Well,
Well, the problem in Kings of War is if you buy models, you can make them as a troop, a regiment, or horde.
Correct.
So
Right.
and so some of my armies are you base them on the smallest common denominator, so they're troops, and then you stack them up to make a regiment or to make a horde. But I mean,
like,
Ronnie said those plastic bases suck, right? And the integrated bases that go into them, the little rounds.
the circle and the round.
yeah, and those models are old; they need to be replaced.
Yeah, and that's honestly because they, originally were catering to people who were coming over from,
Was,
other
was,
games.
I didn't play the old world. Was that you had to take them out of the bases? Was that?
Well, so all right,
Yeah.
just to
Like
remember,
way back in Warhammer, yes, you could take each guy off. As
correct.
as
If you have a unit of 40 guys, there's 40 individual
And then you'd
models.
have to spend-
And as they die, they're the casualty. Like,
Right.
that's
and then
how
you'd have
mark
to
it.
spend 2.5 hours trying to
Rank 'em
figure
all
out
back
which,
up.
which units
Yeah.
go where, and like it was horrendous. But that
I mean,
was
part
that
of the
used to be
problem-
that's the old world that people used to live in, and now we're in a new.
Oh, I
age.
mean, this seems like a more streamlined system.
Well, I mean, part of it is Mantic was designed to sell models to play Warhammer.
Right.
They never games, so
yeah.
some of those armies are just old. you know.
Right.
I don't know what army boxes do you have.
So I have the dwarf mega.
So that dwarf is an old army, right?
Right.
So it's going to have the integrated little round disc
Right.
bases on their
But what I do is I stick them to the thing, and then I put a
like putty or something.
Yeah,
yeah,
you can do that.
you know, just like
There's some people
You
that
can
make
either
like
build
resin
up
base.
around it, or you can try to chop it off. and
Yeah.
build
Chopping it
around
off is so hard.
Chopping it off.
Like you end up like losing part of the
No,
foot.
I have
Totally
like
agree.
300 dwarfs. I'm not.
Yeah,
It just ain't gonna
don't
happen.
bother.
And if you see it, well, get over it.
Yeah.
Ogre mega.
So the ogre mega is it the new one or the old one?
It's the.
Hard plastic or rustic? The PVC stuff. Is it old?
It was old. It
Oh,
has,
so it's probably the rest
It
of
has the Fleabag riders,
Yeah,
which the
they're hard to put together.
they don't fit.
Yeah, they're hard to get.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got some in my old ogre army. They're hard. They're not great models. I mean,
Yeah.
they're from 2015 or 2016.
Right.
They show their age.
And then we have
I like the old ogre models.
I do too.
Don't
I have
talk
an ogre
about
army
me.
and I like them.
Yeah, don't.
What else you got?
today picked up the Force of the Abyss, but the older one.
Yeah, so
but
it doesn't have the Nagari and the Berserkers,
Right.
but it's got
That's
everything else.
the Nagiri is really what I really want.
Well, you just get the ambush box and then you'll have the Berserkers and the Nagari.
Right. And then we picked up myself and Ryan. We both picked up the starter set for the
Northern Alliance and
Northern
Night
Alliance.
Stalker.
So there's the ambush box or the
the two-player starter.
Oh, so Night Stalkers and Northern Alliance.
Yeah.
It's a good set.
Yeah, it really is. And then we got a lot of Night Stalkers for Dead Zone.
Yep.
100%.
Stuff we and actually this month's in April's Vault is I don't have to buy any more Night Stalkers ever again.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So then Ryan, what'd you pick up today?
Forces of Nature. I did a little. I think we got an extra pack of the golems. I think that's what they're called. And then I did a little digging at the Mantic booth, and I found a unwrapped and punctured like harpoon for one of the machines for the Forces of Nature. I haven't seen that in a while, so I was told that was
Yeah.
a rare oldie but goodie.
Yeah, that might be a Trident Realms thing.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
You can make use of it.
Yeah.
I heard you. Yeah, I thought I don't know. I thought it could be used for force of nature.
It
but
says
either or.
forces nature. It's an old metal.
They have some old models.
Yeah, trebuchet type deal.
Okay.
So
Yeah, but either way, that's what I picked up. I did have a question though about. So we've been playing up. Like I think the idea is to what you guys were saying to get in and around 2,000 points.
Yeah.
We've been playing. I think around 1,000 just for the mechanics of it. I think.
Well, the mechanics are fine, especially if you're playing with Kings of War rules and not ambush.
Yes.
Yes.
Then you're building. You can get the hordes in. You can get the bigger units that you want.
What I was going to ask is like I feel like there's, and I guess maybe this is just an inexperienced thing. I feel like there's no point right now, and I could totally be wrong, to take like those infantry. Like I feel like regiments are like the way to go if you just like mass them, because we played a game where I was the dwarves and I took the infantry block of the troop block of the Brocker riders, and they got wiped out real quick. But when they were in the regiment, I think with Nerve 18, they were just, I don't know, man. It just kind of hit different. They were a lot more useful and they were a lot more hardy. I was like, my whole thing is like, is there any incentive to taking those like individual troops? Like troops,
You mean
yeah.
a troop? Yes, the answer is yes. Depends on what you want. I mean, if you take a horde, the point of a horde is it's got a lot of nerve, and you'll survive the punch. However, you can take 2 or 3 units to the face. Right? They can hit you with a lot of stuff. The regiment, if you take 2 regiments instead of a horde, it's going to cost more points, but you have 2 distinct units. They got to kill 2 units, not 1. So it's like more nerve in a way.
Right.
You have more unit strength. The horde might be unit strength. And by the way, unit strength is... For scenario play, you got to have unit strength to claim objectives, pick, these kind of things, control whatever. So regiments increases your unit strength. Maybe you have 6 instead of 4. You have 2 different units that go on 2 different parts of the table, and most of the time you can only get 2 enemies into a regiment. And if you're smart, you only let them get 1 because you can angle it in a way that only 1 can fit. And then in terms of the troops are interesting. It depends on what you're talking about. So, for example, if you're playing dwarves, Ironclad, just a generic dwarf. I mean, they're defense 5, right? And they have a decent nerve.
Right.
So, and you can probably, there are some options there. So we call it thick chaff. So, like, there's certain armies that have higher defense. I'll give you a classic example. In the Salamander army, they have Ancients. They're defense 6. They inspire. And they're a dash 13 nerve. And they come in a troop. They're expensive. They're pretty stout. Right. And there's other, like a zombie unit. Like they don't even, a good rule of thumb, if you notice if they don't even give you the troop option, like it tells you something about that unit, how they're supposed to be played.
Interesting.
So, but you mentioned like maybe cavalry. Cavalry, yeah, a lot of times you'll take a cavalry unit in troops because, or berserkers would be another good example, whether it's like the ones from the goblins, the Luggets. I mean, the Lugget troop has 15 attacks. The regiment has 20. The horde has 30. So if you're smart, you're getting more attacks at a discount. Because I can take a couple. Yes, the 2 Lugget troops are more than a regiment, but I'm getting 10 more attacks.
Right.
Does that make sense? So, like,
I get you.
It just depends on how you're using them. If you're using them as chaff, which is I'm going to trade a piece.
Right.
You're looking for, if you're taking troops, they got to be really resilient. They have to have iron resolve. They have to have high defense or whatever. If you're using them to actually attack and do stuff, like in the Northern Alliance box, they have half-elf berserkers, 15 attacks, but they're defense 3. So in Kings of War, typically, if you have good output of damage, like a berserker roll, they're going to be like low defense, right? And so those, you can play them in a troop, but you got to be careful because they're glass. Like one thing will not. Hopefully, did I answer
No, you did.
I mean, what I would say is I would never tell anybody that you have to play this. Play what you want. Like,
Right.
I mean, you'll find the play style. But what I would also tell you is don't base it as a horde unless you know you're always going to play as a horde. Because you're going to be like, dang it, I don't want to play as a horde. So, maybe you base them as 2 regiments and then just put them on a horde. And then and just an MDF base with some magnets in there and click them down.
Right.
So, or heck, even a troop. Just put 4 troops in to make a horde.
Yeah, I think that makes, for me personally, just having started out playing the doors, I think that makes a lot of sense with I guess it's the Iron Guard, just because of their
The Iron
hardy.
Guard defense 6, they come as a regiment,
Yeah.
right? And they don't come as a troop, I don't
Right.
think, right?
Okay.
And they have 12 attacks. They have no crushing, right? But they hit on 3s.
Right.
So they're great. They'll take an anvil, they'll take a punch.
Right.
They're just
doing
the
anything.
generic, typical dwarf troop.
No crazy special rules. I think it's just they got a nice stat line. I think maybe they have.
Are you a dwarf lover? Am I hearing this?
Not honestly, no. He's the dwarf lover.
Okay.
Coach is the dwarf lover. I'm an Asterian nameless player coming over from Dead Zone, and I don't know. I just picked the Force of Nature, but I guess we have.
Force of Nature's cool though. It's a good army. I mean, in the sense that even though I bash on Force of Nature for having no theme, they have a lot of stuff. You can make a lot.
Right.
And we just did do a Forces of Nature army review like 2 weeks ago.
I'll have to check that out.
So it's long. It's like 4 hours, and we talk a lot of dumb stuff.
I got a long commute. That's what I've been listening to.
So, I mean, Forces of Nature's a good choice. What I'd say is like, I'd say they're balanced, but like they're not the best. They're not on the top level. Put the right down below.
Isn't that now? Honestly, though, like honestly speaking, there is and not like I generally look at the models. Would I, maybe a little bit with the lore? Would I like playing this? Would I like painting this? There's a hobby aspect for me. Is there a genuine like skill tier list with the available armies? Like, is there one that's just like, geez, like the undead or S tier? Like they're a top tier army in this.
Well, I would say that the ones that have undergone recent mantification, I guess that's a word, right?
Right.
Where they've tweaked it to give synergy, so you have to use everything in concert. Halflings is the perfect example. They're hard as hell to use, but if you get it, you get it, and they're just going to bring the pain. So, what you could look at is if the list is in the last 2 or 3 years, you probably got. It's not that they're necessarily S tier. They're going to just be a better army because they're more modern in terms of auras and synergies.
Right.
Like for example, Forces of Nature is an older list, so it may not have some of those synergies, but they still have good units and they have a good formation. So I don't know. I'm not trying to. I don't want to like bust your bubble like Hope. Like it's still a good army, right?
No.
And especially if you're playing noobs like these guys, you can do some damage because they got a few tricks like with air elementals or greater elementals. And like they have the Wilt Father, who's like a defense 6 tree man who is impossible to kill.
Right.
So I mean, there's options with that.
I'm never one to shy away just because of like.
It's a good challenge, though. I would say nature, good challenge.
Okay. Yeah, I did that, and I also did the Northern Alliance.
So I mean, Northern Alliance is a good example that they are new, and it's all about the synergy. It's all about like I cast Frozen, and that gets me a bit to reroll some wounds, and if I hit you with my Frozen weapon, now you're -1 speed, which. In this game, it's all about deployment speed. You just need to be fast.
Right.
Or you need to position right and use the terrain to your advantage.
Right.
And they have the ability. I mean, I played Jeremy Duvall. Playing Goblins, 18-inch range, 24-inch range shooting. Every turn, taking off a unit. I'm running as fast as I can.
And
But-
you were playing.
I'm playing Goblins.
Goblins, okay.
Yeah, so basically like a melee heavy Goblin list. And I'm just running in there. And I'm trying to get there. He's just backing up and he's just shooting. So in this game, we have balance, but like there are bad matchups.
Right.
Depending on the table, the terrain, and
Well, you got to figure a way to figure it in, then you figure it out. That's the
well, I mean, the other thing is if you play what's called a skew list, I mean, you just know that 4 to 5 games I'll probably be okay, and there'll be one that you're screwed.
I'm interested.
But Northern Alliance is awesome. I mean, they have all kinds of different units.
Right. I feel like I'm getting the best of both worlds then, with kind of the newer aura, I guess, and then what the Force of Natures bring to the table. It's interesting because like I feel like what have we really done so far has just been dwarves versus like ogres / goblins, right?
That's all we have.
I feel like that's been a good matchup.
Yeah.
I feel like we've had some like pretty competitive games going back and forth. The ogres, man, I don't know if that's just like getting into combat with them is crazy, but I feel like just the mobility of are they called Brock Riders?
Brock Riders for the dwarves.
Oh yeah, just the mobility of them and just getting in and behind enemy troops. Just I feel like
24
Yeah.
attack.
So I mean,
man,
ogres.
right.
They're just gonna run up and punch you in the face.
Right.
But people are like, oh, they're fast. They're speed 6. They're not fast. They're they're faster than some infantry, but they're slower than most other
Right.
stuff.
What I like about the ogres is you think about the guys holding the boomsticks or
The shooters and stuff.
the shooters and stuff, and then they get into combat, and it's like, well,
They're still ogres.
It's still ogres.
Yeah, so even the ranged weapons, they're still going to be crushing 1, even though you hit them 4s instead of 3s.
Right. And the defense is lower, but then the shield breakers are defense 6 from the front. Now we're talking.
It was a good matchup for not only the Brock Riders, but for the Iron Guard too. I think that was a really balanced game we played.
Yeah.
Just with,
Well, you know what it
I
is,
had the sharpshooters, the Iron Guard. I had a couple of war machines. I was peppering you as you approached, and then I swooped in, and then you kind of hooked. We were playing. We had like the kind of like King of the Hill in the middle, where we just kept piling in and clashing, and it's just like I don't know. I guess that's a good point about mobility and who's getting up the quickest because I think that's what turned the table.
I mean, it
but
depends
yeah.
on the scenario too, right?
Yeah.
Certain scenarios you got to be quicker. And
We haven't been playing.
you're just playing kill.
killing each other.
You know why?
Yep.
Because everybody says you should play scenarios, and I agree with that. but the-
Kill is just playing the game.
Correct.
And that's how you learn
But
the
that's
rules.
how you learn the rules.
That's how you learn the rules.
So now, then it's like, all right, well, we got to hold objectives, or we got to, whatever the different missions are. How are the missions in King's War? Because
They're awesome, and they're adding more and more and more. And I would say we got like 18 of them or something like now. I mean, essentially, you break it down. There's ones that are like area control.
Right.
Go to a certain spot of the map, control the area. There's objective tokens. Go to the objective and hold it. Loot tokens are objectives that you basically pick up and can run away.
Right.
And then you have progressive scoring. It's one of those things, but like you are scoring on turn 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Right.
So there's a ton of different scenarios. A couple of the new ones, they weren't play tested well enough, and they'll have to fix them.
Right.
But it'll be fine.
And what about
but the TOs don't play those because they know that they're wrong.
They know what's right and what's
Yeah.
Now, what about unit strength? That's like if you're contesting an objective, you have.
Yeah, so like let's just say dominate, which is the one where you have to get in the 12-inch circle, right? It's a 12-inch radius. You have to get your units into the circle, and your score is based on how much unit strength you have in the circle at the end of the game,
Okay.
versus how much they have at the end of the game.
Right.
Objectives, you have to have units within 3 inches. Their unit strength adds up cumulatively. Whoever has more unit strength within 3 inches of a token holds the token, right? Loot tokens, you can only score as many loot tokens as you have unit strength. So if you have a horde, then you can hold 4.
Right.
So unit strength is important.
Right.
But it's only one factor. There's plenty of people that play very elite armies with very, few drops and few unit strength, and they do just fine. Because it turns out if you kill everybody, it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Yeah, if they're dead, they don't score. It's all weird too because it depends on which army you're playing, right? How much unit strength you need. I don't know. It depends on what army you're playing,
Right.
and how you want to build it.
And another thing that's really new to us, the concept is new to us. It was in Marvel Crisis Protocol, where most of the games we play is true line of sight.
Abstracted line of sight or systematic line of sight.
Right now, it's the hill is 2,
Cylinder,
but I'm
yeah.
at a 3, or if I stand on a hill, I'm at 5. That takes a little bit of getting used to, because well, I could shoot your ogre. Well, why can't you shoot my ogre? Well, he's being blocked by 2s, but they're 3s. That was a little. That's just a learning curve that we got to get over.
Well, I mean, the benefit is it makes it a tournament game.
Right.
'Cause there's no argument. You can't model for advantage.
Correct.
I don't know. In Dead Zone, I guess may have been some things where
they
you could,
used-
the
they used
tail's
to be.
sticking out or not,
Yeah, I used to do that all the time.
Yeah. Well, you
I
can't
got
do it
full
in Kings of
model.
War.
Well, no, I got my barrel around the corners.
Exactly. But in Kings of War, it's just your height, and then there's rules about can you see line of sight? Is
Right.
the difference between what you are and they are? Is it 3 or higher? There's no cover. They did muddy up the cover rules. They've got concealed and obscured now. It's stupid. They need to fix that. But,
Right.
But it makes the game cleaner because you don't argue.
There's
about
no arguing.
Well, I can see it. No, you can't. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Draw the line. I mean, I guess sometimes it might be difficult, like if you're on the hill and realizing I'm 50% on the hill, so that means my height is raised up by the height of the hill of 3, so now I'm height 5, and so it can be confusing to some new players.
Right.
The whole how you target units.
Right.
Shooting, but you don't seem like a shooting kind of guy. You look like a punch him in the.
Yeah, but when people say we're going to live and die by the blitz, you lose every game. So you can't just. I like a well-balanced. I want to punch you in the face, but there's got to be a balance to it. If I could pep you a little bit and then get into combat, it makes.
Are you an ogre player at heart?
It's going to be one of those things. Like everybody asks me what I play in Dead Zone, I play everything. I play every army but the Rebs.
Yeah, but you're a dwarves guy.
Yeah, I like
Let's be
dwarves.
What kind of dwarves?
Dwarves and ogres.
Imperial dwarves?
I was
Imperial
playing
dwarves?
regular or dwarves. I started looking into the free dwarves.
Less armor, maybe hit a little harder.
Yeah, we're learning the game. So now it's like now that you know the rules, you know the stats a little better. Now when you go look at them and you say, oh wait, now I can see where this is going with these guys. It makes it easier to pick.
How many factions do you guys have in Dead Zone?
All of them.
No, I mean, like, how many are in the game? Because that's the thing that some people have. There's 28 armies in Kings of War.
Yeah, there's like 15,
and
16.
There are similarities between them, but it's 28.
What I do like though, the thing I do like is like say like a greater Earth Elemental that's in my dwarf
It's
army.
the same one in any army that can.
Right.
Yeah.
So that there's a lot of kind of model sharing between stuff. So like let's say I have a Trident Realm army and he has a Force of Nature army. There's synergy.
Well, I mean, your army in particular, Force of Nature. I mean, all those units are in other armies. All the elementals, fires and salamanders, and water is in Order of the Green Lady. So it's like a perfect army if you don't really know what army you want to play. Play this, and then tomorrow I want to play salamanders. Well, you
have them, yeah.
You have some stuff.
Right.
I have some fire elementals. Cool, and a greater fire elemental. So, and allies used to be a thing. We have allies. We don't really play with allies anymore. Because allies were great because you could paint allies and then you're starting a new army.
Right.
So, but there's still some armies like that where there's a lot of overlap. And to your point, they don't change the profile. A tree man is a tree man.
Right.
Whether it's in Sylvan Kin or Forces of Nature.
Right. Just he might have snow on him, or he might have.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. What are you going to play? You've been awfully quiet.
Goblins.
Goblins are awesome.
I love goblins.
Yeah. They play completely different than everybody else. But
No, I the first thing I said, I was like, I need to do goblins. Last year, I picked up the ambush, the rock thrower, and then the maw beast pack. I think.
Yes.
Those were the 3 boxes I picked up last year.
the ambush set's cool.
Yeah.
Because you got like 40 goblins or something, and then you got 2 mincers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't make chariots, dude. Don't make chariots. I mean, you can make chariots, but I'm gonna laugh at you because the mincers are just so good.
The mints.
And the formation.
Ridiculous.
The formation is really good. 2 regiments of sharpsticks, and then a troop of mincers, and they all have a snare. So you were talking about your rock riders. That's because like you charge the sharpsticks, they're phalanx and ensnare.
Right.
You're hitting on 6s with no thunder charge.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
go ahead. You'll be there all day.
I think we encountered that very scenario when we played. So
I was like, oh wait, I got phalanx.
Phalanx.
Oh.
Phalanx is great.
I got
and it got a lot cheaper, so it's available. And I would say that's one of the problems with King's War is that we don't have enough cavalry because there's so many hard counters to cavalry that it sort of killed cavalry in the game.
Because I have the Fleabag riders and the ogres that he could use for the goblins. I picked up a war trombone for him.
Water trombones are awesome.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
And trolls.
trolls are great too. The goblins are good too.
I love goblins.
Goblins are good. The goblins are just there to open up everything else, and then you add all the fun stuff. You have a mop-up launcher, so
It's one of my favorite models, and
it's so
I need it.
The new champion for champions, he's going to be a new mop-up launcher in my army because he's literally wearing a juggernaut suit, shooting mop-ups with his arms,
my God.
like he's like a Terminator with. So,
See,
but
now that would be good to buy that just for the models.
for sure. Well, and you'll get more goblins.
Right. I'm saying for the model
Yeah, you
now.
never have enough goblins.
Right.
But mop-up launcher, right? So it shoots. It's a war engine. It has 3 attacks. It's on 4s. No piercing. Right, which could be a problem, but it can have some offensive power. But I don't have anything to do. Shoot my own unit with mop-up cages, and I'm going to load 5 dogs in that cage. And when I get there, I'm going to unleash them. And then here comes 5 attacks, always on 4s, even if it's into your Trident realm. Ensnare horde. Doesn't matter. It's on 4s, crushing 1, and you can reload from 30 inches away. It's freaking crazy. So
I love it.
And then they have the Wing It, which you guys play Angry Birds? I mean, it's straight up out of Angry Birds, man. The big pig-headed airplane flappy thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
See, that's what I said. Like those guys are awesome. you know?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the Armada one in the vault can be blown
it
up.
sure can. So can
Yeah.
the Phoenix.
Okay.
Yeah, Phoenix can be blown up if you're playing Bass Land, 300%.
Right.
I mean, that's the percent I use, and
Yeah,
it worked
300?
fine. 300%. You were talking about was somebody talking about missiles? Maybe not. But
Force of the Abyss.
Force of the Abyss. I mean, the Nagari are the unit in Armada. They have a pack of 2 Nagari. Just blow them up.
Right.
They're sculpted at full scale.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So the guy in Australia, Luke Schaefer, did it, and it looks great. So
Boom. Man,
Yeah.
You're saving me money left and right.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I love the Armada stuff because even if the Phoenix is a great model, but it's 7 inches tall.
Right.
It's huge. The one in the vault, its wings are not up; it's down, so you can maybe mount them on a statue or something.
Right.
It doesn't have to be 7 inches.
And it's like you said, it's cool because you're hobbying, and you don't have to worry about the he's 7 inches high, yeah, but he's height 2, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Well, he's a Titan, so he's whatever. Yeah,
Right.
it doesn't matter.
How are giants in the game?
Depends on what army you're dealing with. If you ask Kyle Poole, he would say, "I love giants in the Goblin list. Double
thank
giants,
God.
man." So my Ogre army is being used by a guy, Christian from Quebec City. He's playing 2 giants and a mammoth. I might lose, but I'm going to be running at you at ball speed, and when I hit you. So giants are awesome in the sense that giants have the option to take Slayer or Rampage, so you can cater how you want. So Slayer, I kill big stuff.
Right.
Rampage, I kill small stuff. They're crushing 4.
Right.
So the general rule of thumb is you take Slayer because most stuff that's defense 6 is big.
Right.
Iron Guard would be one of and Ancients would be one of the exceptions. So you get D6 plus 8, and if you trigger the Slayer rule, another D6. So 2D6 plus 8.
Right.
So that's 20 dex, really, right? Potentially. But they hit on force. So
And Crush 4.
and crush 4. So if they hit it, they kill it, right? But they hit on force. But they're 18-20 nerf. They don't die easily. So you can put them out there. They have a 14-inch charge. So in the Goblin army, they project farther threat. that's a good example too. Like, there's giants in almost every list.
Right.
So if you paint a giant, you could use it in ogres. You could use it in goblins. Goblins and ogres are great because like there's goblins in the ogre list, right?
Right.
So there's a lot of overlap there. I like the giants, and most of them are 3D printable too.
Yeah.
So they have the Night Stalker, Shadow Hulk.
Well, now they're all in the vault.
Yeah, it's a
All-
Shadow Hulk, and you got the Riftforge one, Storm Giant, maybe.
Storm Giant, yeah.
Yeah. So, and they're all just little tweaks on the regular giant, but Harim for the Northern Alliance is there.
Right.
So, giants to me, that's what makes Kings of War cool. Like,
Right.
big models. Granted, he's 9 inches tall or whatever, but you're playing goblins. Why you like goblins?
It's just a thing. I love goblins. I love the aesthetic of goblins.
Are you like?
I play a goblin on podcasts or multiple goblins, or it may be a multiple personality thing, or we actually own goblins in our basement, but that's neither here nor there.
That's if you've listened to when we were doing team building exercise, Georgie the Goblin's the one who announces everything.
Georgie.
Yeah. I think Georgie's here. Is he here?
Is Georgie here? Hey guys, it's Georgie the Goblin.
You want to talk about hate?
Yeah, they hate
Especially
it.
guys from France hate Georgie the Goblin. We've gotten death threats from Georgie the Goblin.
I bet.
They don't like me.
Dead Zone the podcast got some negative feedback one time when the guys they would do the crazy voice,
Right.
And some of the reviews are like, "I hate the falsetto." Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, can't please everybody.
Yeah, when we were doing team building, or the Rob, Jack, and myself were doing a team building exercise, we were just like, we're just going to make the podcast that we want to listen to, and if
That's all we do.
if everybody wants to come along, it's great. If
And we're not making any money, so it's not a job. So if I don't want to do what you ask, I don't feel bad about it.
And then if you don't get the joke, then you shouldn't be listening.
It's a club, right?
Yeah.
Some people don't have the IQ to get in.
It's funny, you can't please everyone, but I feel like Georgie was universally panned.
It's funny. So what army are you? So you're playing goblins potentially?
No, not potentially.
You are playing
Definitely.
goblins. Did you already buy
Definitely
all the models?
Not all of them, but
So I'm going to give you
working
bad
on it.
advice.
Okay.
I love Luggets. Baseball bat wielding, fanatical goblins. Just a cool model. Run up there and just hit you with a bat. They don't always make it to combat though.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, we gotta flesh out more because there was no Goblin Mega Army here this weekend.
But that might be okay though, because if they had one, it might be the older one, right?
Right.
You want to make sure you're getting the new plastic sculpts, like the ones. So
The one in the ambush were pretty good.
If you're playing ogres and goblins, buy the ogre ambush box. You get ogres and you get a regiment of goblins.
Right.
So you never go wrong with that.
Right. Yeah. But we're excited.
I'm excited to see you guys play. I mean, what's the plan? Are you going to build the armies? You're going to start doing some coverage?
Yeah.
On the YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Cool.
We could say it now. We want to start a slow go program.
Good.
And just
Good, because
do it
everybody's
on the
asking them when
program.
we're starting. I'm not, dude. There's so much work.
Tell them to come to us. Well, if you've been in it for a while, there's really not much to build it. You've already grown it.
Yeah.
We have to get from the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, we're playing with blue tack and non-painted models, which is hard for me to a man of my intelligence to accept. So we want to.
I mean, we have people that play with foam core, cut no base, and write the stats on the.
Nah, you see,
I mean, if you're just practicing, whatever.
if you're practicing, that's cool. But we could play with buttons and quarters too.
or you can play on the video game. You can play the video game.
No, I don't. The whole point of this is half of it is the hobby.
Yeah.
And then for us, the other half it's a third hobby, building, and then editing. That's part of putting out the
So
content.
what's your goal? Like 2,300 point armies, 2,500?
Yeah,
or
I-
bigger.
I like to build up more than enough. So let's say 3,000 points.
So you have
that-
enough to make
right.
option
So
changes.
this time I want to run all regiments. Then I'm going to put all troops out. I want to run 4 giants if I could, or what. I need to have everything because I want to go and do it. I don't like to be lacking.
Yeah. Well, you want to have all the options. If you go to the buffet, you want to be able to eat.
Yeah, I want to when I want it, I want it.
And what's the first army you're going to build? You're building goblins. You're building Force of the Nation. What are you building?
I want to finish up my dwarves.
Okay.
Finish up the ogres and then Force of the Abyss.
Force of the Abyss. They're like one of the new hotness, right? So I've been stomped by them a few times. They're pretty good. Yeah.
No, I mean but I'm already thinking about how I'm going to paint them.
What color are you going to paint them?
I was going to do fire stuff, because I want to do my ogres. I don't want to paint them. Everybody paints them red. I want to paint them blue.
It sounds like you got some ideas.
Yeah, I got a ton of ideas.
I'm excited to see it, man.
Yeah, and then you got your Armada there too.
Oh, love Armada, man.
Yeah.
So Power Gamers, what fleet are you playing in Armada?
But I was playing dwarves.
Oh, Trident Realm.
Yeah.
I have Empire Dust.
So you guys all have self-restraint. That's cool because the power gamers are playing ghost ships, dude.
My Ghost army is the biggest army because it's all my print fails. So
Fair enough.
what I do is just keep those. And
Armada's a fun game. I
Yeah.
really enjoy it. We played a tournament. I think we had 11, 12 players, 10 players.
now, what was the thing though? Was just wasn't selling probably, right? Is that was the
So I always say like Mantic games have like this DNA, and Vanguard didn't have it because it's just too many tokens. And this game it didn't start as Mantic, right? This is Black Seas, right? So there's again they're playing with D10s, which isn't quite the same. It doesn't have the same oomph, right? However, it's set in Panathor, so there is that. I think in terms of retail stores, I'll be blunt. They botched the whole moving it to the vault. So they had retailers with just tons of inventory.
Right.
They got shafted. Now, to Mantic's credit, when they reached out to them, they took inventory back and stuff. But at this point, it's dead in terms of a retail environment. So, and that's fine because now you have a 3D printed game. Everything's in the vault, including new fleets that are only
new fleets
available.
are coming out,
Yeah,
and
you got
then
Kingdoms
new-
of Man, Ghost Fleet, and you got Forces of the Abyss now.
yeah? And I think
on the
also
vault.
Vanguard is in the.
It's they had the My Mini Factory, whatever that's called,
Right.
Tribes. I don't know what it's called. They've been slowly bringing that into there as well.
But you know, like I know in Vanguard, like the Steel Juggernaut for the dwarves are in there, and the I don't know, the fire guy. He's holding the like it looks like he's holding a flamethrower. It almost
Yeah,
looks
the
like
flame
Rambo.
priest.
Yeah, so he's in there. So I could just kind of
Well, and like Forces of Nature, I mean, all the elementals
Yes.
are in there and stuff. Tree Man's in there.
the just not the Earth,
Not
Earth.
not the Earth, and I don't think the actual tree, the regular tree guys are in there yet.
Right.
They'll probably come there at
Yeah,
some point.
only a matter of time.
Well, I mean, those might be not sculpted digitally, right? Those are old. Those came in the second edition Kickstarter back in 2015. So
Right.
they might be green stuff. Maybe that's a good sign then because maybe they'll do
Yeah.
some new ones and they're not so derpy.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? I like their models, but any model from 15 years ago, 10 years ago, are going to be
Yeah,
not the same.
every model needs an update.
Exactly. But yeah, 28 armies though. They have tons of options there. Goblins, I can't wait to see your army next year, man. It's gonna be like, you got a color scheme picked out.
Yeah, whatever he chooses.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
not
did you
the
paint it
painter.
all?
Yeah, I don't.
Damn,
paint.
dude.
I'm
I think
not a
we're
painter.
the only ones who paint.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
That's-
the player.
That's
Well, we've diversified our.
have specialties.
Right.
You're subject matter expert in editing, probably, right?
Well, Tyler was saying the clickbait. Well, that's all him.
Yeah.
But
Editing, graphic design. That's me.
Exactly.
They paint.
exactly.
we make it look pretty, and he makes it look pretty on
On film.
digitally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
It's important to do.
What
that,
do you
too.
play in Armada? You're playing dwarves, you said? No.
I was playing dwarves.
You did orcs too.
Orcs
ships are cool.
Oh, orcs are just so crunchy and grabbing and
Well, the Trident Realms are fun too.
Yeah.
Because they're the monsters.
I
come up.
like
But
them,
I just,
Yeah.
I'm playing a boat game. I want to play boats. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, with him, it was great about the vault was he got the Trident Realms and he goes, I'd really want to run a bunch of turtles, and I said, yeah, but we got the amount of turtles you want. I got to buy 3 boxes.
Yeah.
Because there was only what
I think it was one. in
one
the
turtle in each
starter box.
So
yeah.
now when it came out in the vault,
Now
I
you
just,
add to
I
it.
just filled the bed up, and I was like, he said, well, I don't need that many.
Doesn't matter.
You can never have enough turtles. And then we had the Ninja Turtle squad coming out.
That's
And
awesome.
then-
4 of them with the bandanas. on
Yeah,
there.
yeah. So, that's the greatest thing about the vault. I think.
Yeah.
And then like I'm looking too, the lower abyssals, they're in the vault. So if you need to add some extras or maybe just change around, then you can mirror them. And now if there's 2 in the vault, now there's 4 in the vault.
Yeah, because the lower abyssals, the plastic kit is plastic kit, but then they have like 4 or 5 different lower abyssal resin
Right.
printable bodies.
But it's all the
and actually,
Vanguard
there's some of them in there, right? Some of them, like this guy, is
yeah.
in there and stuff.
There's the Vanguard guys.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
change it around,
Yeah.
mirror it, put them.
Well, and then you
Spread-
got people like Nick Williams that are like actually cutting and remodeling models, which is crazy.
Yeah, I've seen that too. That's the next.
It's the next generation.
Evolution.
I mean, yeah, taking models. Nathan Cerrone on a Canada, he made like some Night Stalker monster where he's combined like 2 monsters together.
Really?
And it's just like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's a whole different level of creativity.
That whole thing, 3D printing, is just another aspect of a hobby. So maybe you're not a good green stuffer and cutter.
Right, like this is not 3D printed. That's like sculpted, Sculpey, right? So it's air baked clay or oven
Yeah,
clay.
this looks fantastic.
Yeah, but the point is, if you don't want to learn that skill, you could 3D print the book,
Yeah, I could
right,
find
or
something
whatever.
Thingiverse or something.
You could, yeah, and that's the thing. You can do whatever you want. The hobby is as far as you want to take it.
Right.
Right. You want to do nothing. You just want to put models on a base. That's fine too. And we have people like that here.
Right.
That they're here.
That's
the
okay, though.
game
You
is
wanna
their
play the game, yeah.
Yeah. And there's other people that take the to the next level.
Well, I was going to do the whole lava thing, but now that you've shamed me into that, I'm going to.
No, I mean, you're welcome to do the same that everybody's done.
Yeah.
No one's going to bust your balls for it.
Listen, if you're throwing down a challenge, I'm going to pick it up and accept it. I'm going to figure out something different now.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to do.
There's lots of good ideas, though.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You know, but this is great. I like the whole theme of the child book and stuff. It's just, it's not just I decided to do something. It's
No, it looks
there's a whole-
fantastic. It looks
there's
really
a whole
good.
thing behind it. Yeah.
So next year we'll have his army to take a look at. Goblins, you know,
Maybe.
maybe.
We'll see.
Well, it depends on if you finish.
If you finish it. Get it done.
You need to get a list though. And you guys are friends with Kyle Poole, I assume, right? You know Kyle Poole?
No.
You never met Kyle?
No.
Dead Zone guy too. All right, I'll have to introduce you because he's the Goblin King. That's what
Okay.
he calls himself. I don't know. If you give yourself the moniker, is it true? I don't know. Hey Kyle, I mean, once you're thinking about building the list, you should workshop the list. Build a big collection, but like you may have some specific. I want to play it like this, right?
I talk to new players, veteran players, weirdos like Rob. It doesn't really matter, and it's not just me. But the idea is there is no perfect list because a perfect list doesn't exist because Rob doesn't pilot goblins the same way I do.
Right.
I don't pilot the same way that Eric does or that Kyle Ritchie does or that the Spaniards play, right? If you look at any army, you look at Luis from Spain, his undead is like all cav. That is not an American list. He slaughters with it.
Right.
And I can't pilot it. I don't understand it. The mechanics don't make sense. I don't see it. The idea that we have is get a bunch of stuff, play and iterate. Maybe you find a battle group you love. I'm really well known for 3 war trombones and a diadem banner bearer with shattering.
I took it this weekend. It's awesome.
It's a kill box.
I just bought a trombone.
Yeah. So once Rob learned how to use it, it works really well. And what happens is instead of becoming a master of the goblin list, you learn how to master feature number 1 or battle group number 1. And then, okay, I really understand how this works. Well, now it's time to iterate a fast flank. Well, maybe I try a giant. Maybe I try a slasher. Maybe I try Kings on Chariot. Maybe I try cavalry. Turns out maybe I don't like playing fast. Cool. Get rid of it. Now I'll play defensive. And it doesn't matter if you're playing orcs or ogres or trident realms or elves if you just don't like yourself.
we don't like elves.
Yeah, practice whatever you want.
Too arrogant for us.
He was,
And then-
he put it back. He was going to get it.
Yeah. Plus the models are the oldest model range they have.
Yeah.
And they're not great. Let's just be honest. They're not great.
They're
That's
cool.
okay.
They're cool if you want to do a theme. So my elves are like a malnourished demon contract, and they're all grayscale.
Okay.
So
cool.
there's no soul in them, and then their weapons are red.
Okay.
That's the only color. But I only did that because the models are like sunken, malnourished things. But as we talk about practicing your pieces and learning your hobby, on the flip side, if you have a really cool model, like I have a King on Chariot, like Rob was talking about, it's a goblin riding a imperial drum on top of a dinosaur with an arrow in its eye, and he's holding the great +1 arrow. He's in every list. One King on Chariot is actually not fit my playstyle. I need to take 3 or none, but he's in every list because that model that's dino.
It's more important to be cool than effective.
That's my
Now,
centerpiece.
That's what we say. Obviously, there's some people. Oh, I want to take the most.
Also, I lost Masters, so I don't know if it's worth.
Well, I mean,
listening.
you're not. Well, that's where we got onto it. You know, you call yourself the Dino Lord, right?
Yeah,
Are you
I'm
really
Dino
a Lord of Dinosaurs. I don't know.
I have.
You have
shitload
them.
of dinos.
Yeah, you have a lot of dinos, but does that make you a lord? I don't know.
I think it does.
Okay.
I have on a 75 millimeter base. Rob has seen it. I have a 24-inch long, 18-inch tall dinosaur with the goblin riding at the head.
Yeah.
That was at King of Monsters, right when it melted in your car.
Yeah. So the sky's the limit here. I mean, you're not a hobby guy, but you can find cool models on the internet for your dad.
You know the halflings at the barn.
Yeah, did
The
you
only
guys see that?
conversion there
Yes.
was 2 tractors and a combine. On the scale of hobby, that's actually not a really big hobby undertaking. Did he do it phenomenally? Is it awesomely executed? Yeah. It's a little tiny twist to play right into him and his personality and his vision.
the harvester.
A
sausage.
total of 3 conversions using die-cast toys. He did a phenomenal job, but it's not a huge hobby undertaking like pouring resin and making hills. He saw the vision and did it, and he executed it very cleanly and very well. But it's 3 die-cast tractors and some chopped up plastic at the end of the day. That's an orc vehicle.
Right.
You know, you're good to go. So I have dinosaurs in every army. Obviously, my dinosaur goblins are like dino heavy. There's more dinosaurs than goblins on many of the bases. Rob remembers from back when I was new and had no money but lots of time. Dinosaurs were the army.
Isn't that still the case?
Yeah, now I have no time or money. It's called kids. But as you start growing and finding your vibe, my elves have dinosaurs. They're all very clean and sleek and slender, and they fit that malnourished, skinny vibe.
Right.
My orcs have dinosaurs. All the orc dinosaurs are just velociraptors. Every single one's a velociraptor. And they're in the units that are fast and hit hard. So all my berserkers have dinosaurs, and no one else has dinosaurs. My war drum is a triceratops with a orc beating on it, and I carved dents into its side. It's like a little baby triceratops, and they've dented it from beating the war drum. Those are the only dinosaurs in the orc army.
Right.
But they fit the theme and the feel of this very savage. My orcs are savage orcs, like actual savage orcs. So that's the only dinosaurs that fit that theme. So that's the only ones that made it in there.
Right.
And worst comes to worst, you can always freehand a dinosaur on something.
Right.
My Mantic Goblin Army, my all Mantic Goblin Army, we don't have any dinosaurs because Mantic doesn't make currently an official dinosaur. So the dinosaurs will actually be in the graffiti on the multi-bases.
Okay.
So I'm still going to put dinosaurs in, but it's going to be graffitied.
Okay.
I don't know what you guys were talking about when Rob
No,
called me
just
in, but that's about it.
I mean, you're a nut.
Perfect.
I think that's a good segue.
So I still have 6 more armies to paint judge, and they kick us out in half an hour.
Yeah.
So I love 3 of you, and I don't know who Rob is.
Fair enough.
Thanks, guys.
That's a good chat. You got more?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah.
More hot takes.
Look at
More
these-
texts. You got to save some up, man. We got to get you back on the show.
They don't have the stamina.
I have the stamina, but I don't have the voice, man. You talk too much.
Yeah.
Eventually it goes away.
But this was awesome. We're going to be listening. We're going to be hopefully
Yeah,
you
and
guys
hit me
follow-
up if you got
follow along.
questions. You got questions, and a lot of times I can't answer your question because I
Right.
don't play those armies. We know who does, and they have, and obviously anybody that does the army review, they're usually very accessible to reaching out. And you probably want to ask Americans because if you're playing in America, the meta is different. But I mean, Dead Zone might be different, but like
No,
you was mentioning
no.
cavalry,
Listen,
like,
listen.
it's good there. But
As far as Dead Zone, I'll throw it down. We play better than England.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it out there. Nobody plays like us.
yeah,
Gets
the best,
The best.
the best.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Countercharge. Please let us know what you thought of the show by emailing us at counterchargepodcast@gmail.com, on Twitter at countercharge15, or by commenting on the Countercharge Kings of War podcast Facebook group. If you enjoy the show, you can help others find out about it by leaving positive reviews on iTunes. Until next time, keep countercharging. Music is a composition of Kevin MacLeod and is licensed under Creative Commons.
He was lamenting the fact that Mark promised him to come on the show 10 years ago.
How many years ago?
Yeah, right before we turned. Tell the story.
So I win the Dead Zone tournament. Mark goes, I'm listening to Mantic Radio. And he
Okay.
goes, we should have Coach on. He just won the Dead Zone podcast.
Yeah.
The Dead Zone tournament. And Rob goes, yeah, we should do that. Definitely. You know what? Let's set that up.
Yeah.
And then next week, you're listening to the Countercharge. We're just going to do Kings of War and screw every other game. I was
you're like,
these
no!
these rat bastards. I've been listening to you.
Like, screw
I was in my
you.
car. I was pissed.
You should be.
And then
Everyone
10 years
should be
later, I
pissed at
finally
Mark.
get here. See?
Well, then that's awesome, man.
Dreams do come true.
Yes.